Okay, so next would be continuation of taxation on income. So this is supposed to be our week 6, but because meron tayong asynchronous, so we will continue with this discussion para makahabol tayo. Okay? So ayaw niyo mag-allow. Ayan. Okay. So subject to taxation. So sino-sino ba yung mga tinatax? Okay? Who are the entities, people who are being taxed by our government or in accordance to the National Income Revenue Code? So Section 23, General Principle of Income Taxation in the Philippines, except when otherwise provided in this code. So let me just where is that? Okay. So number 1, a citizen of the Philippines residing therein is taxable on all income derived from sources within and without the Philippines. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng citizen o mamamayan ng Pilipinas na nakatira sa loob ng Pilipinas o sa labas ng Pilipinas, hindi nakatira, na ang kita ay kinukuha nila sa loob ng Pilipinas o sa labas ng Pilipinas ay taxable. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Kung ikaw ay isang empleyado, so ang iyong sweldo ay taxable. Kung ikaw ay isang negosyante at let's say nag-export ka ng mga produkto, yung ini-export mo ay subject to tax. Okay? Next. A non-resident citizen is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. So kung ikaw ay OFW, OFW, yan. So kung ikaw ay OFW, your income that is derived in the Philippines, yun lang ang taxable. So an example of that is ikaw ay isang OFW, then meron kang let's say online store dito sa Pilipinas, then that online store mo dito sa Pilipinas will be subject to taxation. Next, an individual citizen of the Philippines who is working and deriving income from abroad as an overseas contract worker is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines, provided that a seaman who is a citizen of the Philippines and who receives compensation for service rendered abroad as a member of the complement of a vessel engaged exclusively in international trade shall be treated as an overseas contract worker. Okay? So same rule applies. Next, an alien individual. Sino ba yung alien individual? Hindi yan yung mga alien from outer space. When we say alien from individual, these are foreigners. Okay? Where a resident or not, whether a resident or not of the Philippines is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. An example of that is, let's say, a nuclear engineer consultant. Yan. Let's say wala tayong nuclear engineer consultant, magtatayo tayo ng let's say si Meralco magtatayo siya ng power plant. For nuclear power plant, kailangan niya mag-hire ng consultant. So ang ginawa niya, naghanap siya ng consultant sa Germany. Then that consultant who arrived here in the Philippines will be subject to tax on the income that he derived from that consultancy service that he provides. Another example, another person who is subject to tax is a domestic corporation, is taxable on all income derived from sources within and without the Philippines. So kung let's say si Jollibee Corporation, so si Jollibee Corporation, yung income niya within the Philippines and outside the Philippines will be taxable. When you say outside the Philippines, let's say meron siyang ini-export. Wag si Jollibee. Let's say San Miguel Corporation. Si San Miguel Corporation meron siyang ini-export na produkto. So although ibang bansa yung nakikinabang dun sa produkto na yon, he will be taxable for that income. foreign corporation, whether engaged or not in trade or business in the Philippines, is taxable only on income derived from sources within the Philippines. So again, if ang isang foreign corporation will be engaging business in the Philippines, then he will be taxable on the transactions, trades, and businesses that he conducted in the Philippines only. Okay? Next, section 24, income tax rate. So a rate of income tax on individual citizen and individual resident of the Philippines will be as follows. Ayan na. So an income tax is hereby imposed, okay, on the taxable income defined in section 31 of this code, other than income subject to tax under the subsection B, C, and D of this code derived from each taxable year from all sources within and without the Philippines, every individual citizen of the Philippines residing therein. On the taxable income defined in section 31, so same derived from each taxable year from all sources within the Philippines by an individual citizen of the Philippines who is residing outside of the Philippines, including overseas contract worker, refers to in subsection C. And on the taxable income defined in section 31 as the subsection prescribed, derived for each taxable year for all income sources within the Philippines by an individual alien who is a resident of the Philippines. Yan na, ito na, tax rate. Ready na ba kayo sa computation? Okay, so tax rate of an income rate of tax on taxable income of individuals. The tax shall be computed in accordance with and at the rate established in the following.
Ayan na. Ayan na. Ayan na.
Okay. So tax schedule effective January 1, 2018 until December 31, 2022. So basically after this year, ma-phase out na tong or hindi na magiging applicable tong tax rate na to. So when we on tax bracket 1, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo nung umpisa, if your income or your gross income subject to deductions will not exceed 250,000 pesos, then your fixed tax is 0 and your additional tax is 0. So ibig sabihin, if you are earning less than 250,000 pesos or roughly 21,000 pesos per month, that is not subject to tax. Okay? Wala kayong tax na babayaran dyan. Next is if your income exceeds 250,000 pesos but less than 400,000 pesos, then you have a fixed tax of 0 and you have an additional 20% on the excess of 250. Ibig sabihin, let's say if you are earning 300,000 pesos per year, that 300,000 pesos you will be taxed 20% on the 250 on the 50,000 pesos only, not on the whole 300,000 pesos. Okay? Next, for income over 400,000 pesos but less than 800,000 pesos or not greater than 800,000 pesos, you already have what we call a fixed tax of 30,000 pesos. Okay? Then anything in excess of 400,000 pesos, you will have an additional tax of 25%. So meaning, if your salary is, let's say, 450,000 pesos, you have a fixed tax of 30,000 pesos, then you will be taxed 25% on the excess, which is 50,000 pesos. The 25% of 50,000 pesos, that would be 12,500. Tama ba? Tama. 12,500. So meaning your total tax, if your salary is 450,000 pesos, is 42,500. Nakakasunod? Nakakasunod kayo? Okay, mag-react lang pag hindi nakakasunod. Huwag kayong mag-alala, walang mambabash dito. Okay? Now, if your salary is over 800,000 pesos, okay? Over 800,000 pesos but less than 2 million pesos, sana all may 2 million pesos per year, okay? Your fixed tax would be 130,000 pesos, okay? And in excess of 800,000 pesos, okay, you will have a additional tax would be 30% in excess of 800,000 pesos. So let's say your income would be 900,000 pesos. So automatically you have 130,000 pesos worth of fixed tax. Then plus 30%. So on the excess of 800, so meaning 30% of 100 is 30,000. So meaning your tax payable if you are on bracket 4 would be 160,000 pesos. Okay? Next on bracket 5, if your income is over 2 million pesos but less than 8 million pesos, your fixed tax is 490 pesos. And in excess of 2 million, you will have a tax of 32%. Okay? So, same computation applies. Then, on bracket 6, ito yung mga ultra yayamanin. Okay? Sana all ultra yayamanin. If your income per year is 8 million pesos or over 8 million pesos, you will have a fixed tax of 2,410 pesos. So that would be your income. And in excess of 8 million, you will be taxed 35% in excess of 8 million. Okay? But this tax table will only apply is only effective until December 31, okay, 2020. Because after December 31, 2020, our tax table will change in accordance to the train law. So, in accordance to the train law, ayun na yung gumalaw. Okay. According to the train law, so merong pagbabago, bumababa yung income tax rate natin. So remember, doon sa bracket 2 natin, una 20% siya, naging 15% na lang. Okay? Then doon sa bracket 3, dati siyang 25%, naging 20% na lang. Sa bracket 4, naging 25%, dating 30%. Then bracket 6, 32%, naging 30 na lang siya. And bracket 6, naging 35, hindi siya nagbago, naging 35% pa rin siya. Although the fixed tax rate also changes and decreased. Okay? So pagdating sa computation, so please be reminded, right? Please remember this tax table because pag nagkaroon tayo ng computation, you have to remember number 1, kailan yung tax income niya. Kailan niya in-earn yung tax niya. So if in-earn niya yung tax niya or the taxable year is from January 1 to December 31 of 2022, okay? This tax table will apply. Okay? But if, let's say, yung question is a future question, let's say in 2023, okay, the tax rate in 2023, therefore, this table, yung dapat nyong i-apply. Okay? Please, again, I'm reminding you, please take note of this because pag nagkaroon tayo ng computation, pag maling tax table ang na-compute nyo, and magkakaroon kayo ng 0 grade on that. Okay? Next. Tax rate. So for tax rates for married individuals, the husband and the wife subject to the provision of Section 51 hereof, okay, shall compute separately their individual individual income tax based on their respective total taxable income. Okay, kasi before the train law, siguro inabot to ng mga tatay nanay nyo, merong magde-declare na head of the family. Pag nag-declare siya ng head of the family, okay, yung asawa niya, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-declare ng head of the family because yung head of the family merong deductible. Ibig sabihin, binabawas yun sa tax table niya, sa tax niya. Pero ngayon, tinanggal na yung head of the family, tinanggal na yung mga exceptions, dati pag may anak kang apat, meron kang I think 5,000 pesos or 25,000 pesos per child. But ngayon, tinanggal na siya. Bakit? Ang ginawa ng batas, tinix niya na 250,000 pesos ang tax exemption mo. So kung ang income mo is less than 250,000 pesos, wala ka ng tax na babayaran. At kung ang income mo ay greater than 250,000 pesos, the first 250,000 pesos will not be subject to tax. Okay? Provided that if any income cannot be definitely attributed to or identified as an income exclusively earned or realized by either of the spouses, the same shall be divided equally between the spouses for the purpose of determining their respective taxable income. For example, meron silang paupahan. Okay, yung paupahan nilang bahay, dahil sila yung may-ari ng bahay. So let's say ang nagpagawa ng bahay ay si Mr. Ang fully furnish ng bahay ay si Mrs. Tapos ang ginawa nila ay pinarentahan nila yung bahay. Kung hindi ma-define kung magkano ang contribution ng bawat isa, hindi ma-define kung ilang percent nung kita nung parentahan na bahay ay mapupunta kay Mr. at yung iba ay mapupunta kay Mrs. So ang gagawin is equally divided sila doon sa income. Okay? Next. For tax rates for married individuals, provided that the minimum wage earners, as defined in Section 22 of this code, shall be exempt from the payment of income tax on their taxable income. Provided further that the holiday pay, overtime pay, night shift differential pay, and hazard pay received by such minimum wage earners shall likewise be exempted from tax. Okay. There would medyo hindi masyadong applicable to mathematically because I think the minimum wage in Metro Manila, kahit i-sum up mo siya, will not reach 250,000 pesos. So therefore, exempted pa rin siya. But in the event that yung minimum wage natin exceeds, okay? If the minimum wage exceeds 250,000 pesos, okay? Therefore, okay, dahil minimum wage siya, okay, hindi siya subject to taxation. An example is, let's say, lahat ng holiday pay pinasukan niya, grabe siyang mag-overtime, yung night shift niya, night differential niya, yung hazard pay niya. So, all in all, nag-exceed siya ng minimum wage earner siya, pero nag-exceed siya ng 250,000 pesos. So, kahit nag-exceed siya ng 250,000 pesos per year, pero he is declared as a minimum wage earner, therefore, all of his income will not be subject to tax. Right? Pero pag hindi ka minimum wage earner, okay, then let's say, ang iyong income lang ay 240,000 pesos per year. So, hindi ka taxable, pero hindi ka minimum wage earner. Then, let's say, nag-holiday pay ka, nag-overtime pay ka, night shift differential, and hazard pay. Then, because of that, nag-exceed sa 250,000 pesos yung gross income mo. Therefore, the amount exceeded the 250,000 threshold will be subject to 20% taxation. Okay? Rate of tax in income of purely self-employed individuals and or professional whose gross sales or gross receipts and non-operating income does not exceed the value-added tax threshold as provided in Section 109 by self-employed individuals and or professionals shall have the option to avail of the 8% tax gross or gross on receipts and other non-operating income in excess of the 250,000 pesos in lieu of the graduated income tax rate under subsection A2A of this section, and that percentage tax under the section 116 of this code. Anong ibig sabihin nito? So let's say self-employed ka or businessman ka, businessman on a sole proprietorship or GPPs yung tinatawag natin. Instead of following the graduated tax rate, ano ba yung graduated tax rate? Yun yung kanina nating table na pinakita. That is the graduated tax rate, right? Instead of following that, okay, on top of the 250,000 pesos per year na tax exemption ka or tax free ka, you can use the 8% on gross sales and gross receipts. Ibig sabihin, yung lahat ng kinita mo, para hindi ka na mahirapang mag-compute, okay, you will just use 8% on the gross receipt. Anong ibig sabihin ng gross receipt? Gross receipt, ibig sabihin hindi natin binawas lahat ng expenses mo. Kasi usually, di ba, para makuha mo yung income mo, you have your revenue minus your expenses, that would be your income. Then on your income, doon ibabawas yung mga taxable o doon magbe-base yung taxable income mo. But on this gross rate, okay, they have the option to use 8% on top of the 250 as their tax rate. Okay? So hindi na nila ibabawas yung expenses nila, okay? From the gross receipt, mag-aalat na sila ng 8% as their tax. Okay? Take note of that. Tax rate of mixed income earners. Ano ba yung mixed income earners? For example, kagaya ko, I am an employee of the government. Then, bukod sa pagiging empleyado ng gobyerno, meron din akong consultancy firm. And bukod sa pagkakaroon ng consultancy firm, meron din akong construction firm. At bukod sa construction firm, nagtuturo din ako sa RTU. So I have mixed income. Pag sinabing mixed income, yung source mo ng income is not only derived by one industry. Okay? Ibig sabihin, empleyado ka, then negosyante ka din. That is what you call a mixed income earner. Or possible na empleyado ka sa dalawang kumpanya, isang part-time, isang full-time. Right? So taxpayer earning both compensation income and income from business or practice of profession shall be subject to the following taxes. Number 1, all income from compensation, the rate prescribed under the subsection A2A of this section, or meaning the graduated tax table. All income from business or practice of profession, if total gross sale and or gross receipt and other non-operating income do not exceed the VAT threshold as provided in section 109 of this code, the rates prescribed under subsection A2B of this section on taxable income or 8% income based on gross sales or gross receipts and other non-operating income in lieu of the graduated income under this code or under this section of this and the percentage tax subject section subject to this code. So ibig sabihin, kung yung income based siya sa graduated bilang isang empleyado, right? Then yung iyong business, subject siya doon sa 8% gross receipts mo. Okay? So that is how you treat that. Kung meron kang employment, yung employment mo, ang base ng tax rate mo, yung graduated tax payable or yung graduated income tax rate. Then if you have a business, you can use the 8% income tax based on the gross receipts or gross sales. If the total gross sales and gross receipts and other non-operating income exceeds the VAT threshold provided in this section 109 of this code, the tax rate prescribed under subsection A2A of this section. Ano ba yung VAT threshold? Yung VAT threshold is 3 million pesos. So meaning if your income exceeds 3 million pesos doon sa iyong business, therefore that 3 million hindi mo na pwedeng gamitin yung 8%. Okay? If your business exceeds 3 million pesos, ang kailangan mo nang gamitin is yung prescribed tax rate doon sa graduated tax table natin kanina. Okay. Next, rate of tax on certain passive income. So interest, royalties, prices, and other winnings, a final tax at the rate of 20% is hereby imposed upon the amount of interest from any currency, bank deposit, and the yield or any other monetary benefit from deposits, substitutes, and from tax or trust funds in similar agreements. So royalty, except on books, as well as the other literary works and musical composition, which shall be imposed a final tax of 10%. So kung meron kang deposito sa bangko, okay, let's say may deposito ka sa bangko, mapapansin niyo yan kung meron kayong passbook, makikita niyo meron kayong withheld tax. Okay, that withheld tax, you will withheld tax doon sa interest. So let's say ang diniposito mo sa bangko is 1 million pesos. And ang interest on that 1 million pesos at 1% per annum, that would be 10,000 pesos. On that 10,000 pesos, meron kang 20% tax. Okay? So hindi mo makukuha yung buong income mo on interest na 10,000 pesos. So matataksan ka doon ng 20%. And 20% of 10,000 pesos, that would be 2,000 pesos. So ibig sabihin ang net income on interest mo lang is 8,000 pesos. And royalties and composition, so meron kang final tax of 10% on royalties and composition or literary works that you earn income to. Okay? Prices, except prices amounting to 10,000 pesos or less, which shall be subject to tax under subsection A of section 24, and other winnings, except winning amounting to 10,000 pesos or less from the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes and Lotto, which shall be exempted, derived from sources within the Philippines. So kung meron kang winnings, example yung kay Manny Pacquiao, right? Yung panalo ni Manny Pacquiao, pag nananalo siya ng mga about 100 million pesos kada laban niya, right? So that would be subject to a 10% tama ba? Subject to that would be subject to taxes. Tama ba na bang interest rate? Let's see later. Okay. Provided, however, that interest income received by an individual taxpayer from a depository bank under the expanded foreign currency deposit system shall be subject to a final income tax at the rate of 15% of such income interest, provided further that the interest income for long-term deposit or investment in the form of savings, common and individual trust funds, deposit substitute, investment management accounts, and other investment evidenced by certificate in such a form prescribed by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas shall be exempted from tax imposed under this subsection. Provided finally that should the holder of the certificate pre-terminates the deposit or investment before the fifth year, a final tax shall be imposed on the entire income and shall be deducted and withheld by the depositary bank for the proceeds of the long-term investment or investment certificate based on the remaining maturity thereof. So ito yung if meron kang time deposit, dollar time deposit, okay, you will be subject to this graduated tax rate. Okay? Next. Cash and other and or property dividends. So, what is dividends? So, ito yung mga kinikita mo doon sa pag-i-invest mo sa isang korporasyon. Let's say bumili ka ng stocks. Okay? Let's say bumili ka ng stocks ng Jollibee, right? And usually Jollibee issue stocks dividend or issue cash dividend for about let's say every quarter roughly, right? So every quarter nag-issue sila ng dividendo doon sa investment mo sa kanila, right? And a final tax at the rate of 10% shall be imposed upon the cash and property dividends actually and constructively received by the individual from the domestic corporation or joint stock company, insurance or maturity fund companies, and regional operating headquarters of multinational companies, or on share of an individual in the distributable net income after tax of a partnership, except a general professional partnership. So for example, kung meron naman kayong partnership, this is not, meron kayong, let's say, nagtayo kayo ng marketing firm, magbe-best friend kayo, 5 kayong magbe-best friend, nagtayo kayo ng marketing firm, right? You are hindi niyo siya pina-register sa SEC, but nagtayo kayo ng partnership. So yung partnership na yon, okay? So you will be subject to individual tax share, okay, in the distributable net income after the tax of the partnership. So may tax na yung partnership nyo, then pag din-distribute yung income nyo, may tax pa rin kayo doon. Right? Of which which here is a partner or on the share of an individual in the net income after tax of an association, a joint account or a joint venture or consortium taxable as a corporation of which he is a member or co-venture. Next, okay? Capital gains from sale of share of stocks not traded in the stock market. Okay? The provision of Section 39, notwithstanding, a final tax at the rate of 15% is hereby imposed upon the net capital gains realized during the taxable year from the sales, barter, exchange, or deposits of shares of stock in a domestic corporation, except shares sold or distributed through that stock exchange. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Let's say kaming magkakapatid, meron kaming korporasyon. Ang tawag na ang pangalan ng korporasyon namin is Antaso Transport Corporation. Okay? It's a real corporation. So, kaming magkakapatid, 3 kaming lalaki, meron kaming tigwa 1 million share. Okay? May 1 million share of stock amounting to 1 peso per share. Okay? Then let's say nag-operate na kami, maganda yung business namin, then dahil let's say sabihin natin na gusto ko nang ibenta yung kalahati nung share ko sa korporasyon. Okay? So gusto ko na lang 500,000 na lang yung pag-aari ko dun sa korporasyon. Then binenta ko yung 500 shares ko doon din sa mga kapatid ko. Pero because growing yung business, right? Yung dating 1 peso per share na halaga ng stocks namin, 5 pesos na siya. Okay? 5 pesos na siya. So yung dating 500,000 pesos ko, okay, naging 2,500,000 na. Okay? So therefore, okay, I will be taxed, matataksan ako doon sa 2 million pesos na kinita ko doon sa pagbebenta ko ng share ko. Okay, and that will be subject to a 15% tax rate. Okay, malinaw ba? May nalilito? Malinaw Pag lumabas yan. Nakakalito? Saan kayo nalilito? Okay, we will discuss for that later after this discussion. Okay, just take note of any questions. Okay? Capital gains from sales of real property, yan, ito yung medyo masalimuot, no? In general, the provision of section 39, okay, notwithstanding a final tax of 6% based on the gross selling price or current fair market value as determined in accordance with the section 6 of this code, whichever is higher. Okay, yan yung dapat yung tandaan. Whichever is higher, okay, is hereby imposed upon the capital gains presumed to have been realized from the sale, exchange, or other disposition of real property located in the Philippines, classified as capital asset, including pacto de retro sale and other forms of conditional sale by an individual, including estate and trust. Okay, an example of that is this. May lupa ka, for example. May lupa ka, then you will sell the property. Okay, ibebenta mo yung property. Let's say binenta mo yung property for let's say 1 million pesos. Okay? Dahil binenta mo yung property for 1 million pesos, yung lupa for 1 million pesos, okay, kailangan mong magbayad ng final tax na 6%, which is 60,000 pesos. Okay? So bago mo maipa-transfer yung titulo ng lupa doon sa bumili, okay, ikaw bilang seller, you have to pay the final tax of 6% of the value of the selling price of the said property. Okay, nagbenta ka ng property, okay? Pag nabenta mo yung property, then you need to pay 6%, okay, on the property cost of the property that you sold. Okay? Next. Okay. Provided that the tax liability, any, on the gains from sale or disposition of real property to the government or any of its political subdivision or agency or government-owned and controlled corporation shall be determined either under Section 24 or under subsection at the option of the taxpayer. Okay, minsan kasi nangyayari si gobyerno yung bumibili ng lupa o yung sinasabi natin yung expropriation, right? So minsan dahil may expropriation, si government, ang ginagawa niya is either bibigyan ka ng tax credit, hindi ka na lang pagbabayarin ng tax at a certain amount doon sa property na nakuha sa iyo. Or kung meron kang mga tax liability, nagkakaroon na lang ng tax credit. Okay? Next. Exception. Okay? The provision of paragraph 1 of subsection 2, the contrary notwithstanding capital gains presumed to have been realized from the sale or disposition of their principal residence by natural person, the proceeds of which is fully utilized in acquiring or constructing a new principal residence within 18 calendar months from the date of sale or disposition shall be exempted from capital gains tax imposed under this section. So provided that the historical cost or adjusted basis of the real property sold or disposed shall be carried over to the new principal residence built or acquired. So merong exception kung within 18 calendar months, okay, tatayuan mo yun ng family home. Tatayuan mo yun ng bahay. Okay? Next. Provided further that the commissioner shall have been duly notified by the taxpayer within 30 days from the date of sale or disposition through a prescribed return of his intention to avail the tax exemption here to mention, provided still further that the said tax exemption can only be availed once every 10 years, provided finally that if there is no full utilization of the proceeds of the sale or disposition, the portion of the gain presumed to have been realized from the sale or disposition shall be subject to capital gains tax. Okay? For this purpose, the gross selling price of or fair market value at the time whichever is higher shall be multiplied by the fraction which the unutilized amount bears to the gross sales price in order to determine the tax portion, and the tax prescribed under paragraph 1 of the subsection shall be imposed thereon. Tandaan nyo yung laging whichever is higher. Okay? Ibig sabihin, let's say, the fair market value, okay, yung fair market value ng lupa is 1 million pesos. Okay? 1 million pesos yung fair market value. Yung presyo sa merkado ng lupa is 1 million pesos. Pero, binenta mo lang siya ng kalahating milyon. Okay, let's say yun yung nagmamadali ka, kailangan mo na maibenta yung lupa. Kalahating milyon mo lang siya binenta. Okay? Kahit kalahating milyon mo lang siya binenta, ang basihan ng iyong tax is whichever is higher, which is the 1 million pesos. So you will be taxed based on the fair market value, not on the actual sale, not on the actual sales price. But what if the fair market value is 1 million pesos, but because nakikita nyo na tinatayo na yung LRT, okay, binili sa'yo ng SM yung lupa sa halaga ng 1.5 million pesos, matataksan ka hindi dun sa fair market value, but matataksan ka based on the selling price, which is 1.5 million pesos. Okay? Next. Okay, so that ends our week 6 of income taxation. Okay?